friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a book, and that is A Treachery of Swans by A.B. Poranek. In this review, I'm going to be talking about whether or not this book is worth it, if you should read it, if I thought that this book was worth the internal hype that I gave it. So if you are interested in watching more of that, please keep watching. If you want to see more videos like this from me, hit like, subscribe, and comment. And yeah, let's just kind of hop into the video. So let me start off with the synopsis first. This is a Swan Lake retelling. This is following Odile, who is a sorcerer who can no longer access magic. So her and her father's plan is to have her impersonate Marie Daudet. Marie Daudet. Sure, that sounds better in French. Marie Daudet. I guess with a French accent. For Odile to be able to marry the prince, and then for them to regain magic after, obviously killing the prince, taking his blood, and releasing magic unto the world. However, after her brother is accused of murder, Odile has to team up with this girl she can't stop thinking about, Odette, and the two start to get closer and closer and closer, all while she's trying to make sure she's trying her hardest to free her brother from this prison and this false accusation. For trigger warnings, let me just pull up my little handy dandy laptop because it has all the trigger warnings. There aren't a ton of trigger warnings in this very YA retelling, but just so everyone's aware, there is violence, gore, death, emotional abuse, blood, and murder. Moving on to the bulk of this review, starting off with the writing style. I did enjoy the writing style. I thought this writing style was very beautifully written. It was quite lyrical. I loved being in this world solely because of the writing style. Like, I could visualize everything that was being written and being told to me, and could really get lost in it. Moving on to the characters, I found the characters to be kind of a caricature of their original counterparts. Like, I pictured Barbie Princess Swan Lake the entire time, which is fine. I expected a little bit darker with these characters, truly, to be honestly, because it is supposed to be a gothic novel, and I feel like this just was not it. I struggled with Odile specifically because she's supposed to be this like really bad character. She's supposed to have this like really dark mentality and just not a good person. Like, I was expecting a really good and really strong redemption arc from Odile. That just did not happen. I felt like it was very obvious from the beginning that she was just this lost girl who's looking for acceptance, which isn't a bad thing. However, I was expecting a lot more of a harsh redemption arc, one where we're seeing her go from the super bad, very terrible, really not so great things to something just a little better. And that didn't seem to happen. So I was really quite disappointed with her character arc. And I feel like because of that, we also lost out on quite a bit of that like romantic tension between Odile and Marie Daudet. Gosh, it's been a while since I've had to do a French accent because I used to take French. So it's a struggle to get the Marie Daudet. Moving on to the plot, it was fine. There was nothing really there was nothing really too much to write home about. It's like a run-of-the-mill murder mystery, trying to figure out who this monster that is kind of terrorizing this kingdom is and how to stop it and who's controlling the monster, which isn't much of a spoiler. It happens pretty early on in the book. You learn about a monster. It was kind of easy to figure out the plot and the plot twists just because, well, it was really easy to figure it out once you really sat down and thought about it. I figured out who the monster was pretty much off the bat. Once you got to the second monster introduction, I was like, oh yeah, it's for sure this character, 100%. It's not even a surprise. And even then, I still had inklings before this reveal, or right before the reveal. So it was nothing too crazy to write home about. It's a simple run-of-the-mill murder mystery plot of like, ooh, who did it? Who's controlling who's doing so and so and so and so. I feel like that the plot was predictable, which isn't bad. We like a predictable plot. We like predictable beats. We like things that we can understand and really just get lost in, something familiar. But it just made for a very unmemorable plot. Like, I couldn't really tell you too much about what happened. Just the big overarching like major hit points of this book. And sadly, none of those had to do anything relating to the romance that is the title or the main thing of this book. There is a romance. I forgot to mention that in the synopsis. It's a queer retelling, and it's between Odile and Marie Daudet. Basically, they turn her into a swan, and Odile cannot seem to keep herself away from Odette. and the two start to fall in love, and it's supposed to be a thing, which is fine, but the plot made it very unmemorable and kind of made the romance get lost in the sauce. Moving on to the world building was fun. I like the idea of the three goddesses that can give and take away magic. It was, to me, a little bit of a very novel idea. I feel like magic seems to be more of a permanent aspect in a lot of world building, and seems to be very temporary and very gifted almost. I like that concept, and it felt very like natural. It felt very like, oh yeah, this makes sense for this world, for the magic not to be a permanent concept. I also like the idea of capturing a god. Wish I got more of it, honestly. I was really interested in this portion of the book, the world building, but I'm learning that when it comes to fantasy, I love me a good, strong world building and even stronger characters. So you can tell where this is going because of my reviews of the characters and the world building thus far. Moving on to the pacing was definitely the weakest part of this book. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was my least favorite part of this book. The most interesting part about this book was when, toward the very, very end, where Odile had to go on a quest to find the other two missing goddesses and tell them, hey, it's safe to come back to this kingdom. Please come so you can save this person that I love so very dearly. That happened like at the very end of the book, and we skipped over that entire thing, which I think would have made for a much stronger redemption arc versus the redemption arc that we got in this book. Like, I think we would have seen so much more growth out of Odile during this journey versus the journey that we got with this one book here. I think it would have been fun to expand it into 2 books, or at least make the ending concern be the main struggle in this book. I think that would have been an interesting struggle. Would have made for a much more interesting plot and much more stronger characters as well, I think. I feel like the pacing also took away from the romance. The romance is a big portion of this book, truly. And I feel like it just kind of took away from that. Because of the pacing, we saw more of the murder mystery, whereas in this one it seemed to be very more romance heavy. I was expecting a gothic romance to turn out of this book, but that didn't seem to really happen. It was a pivotal part of the story, and the pacing and the plot kept them apart more than they were able to be together, which left for a very dry and lackluster kind of romance. By the time that the romance happened, I was just feeling kind of meh, you know? At this point, I was shipping Odile and the prince because they had more chemistry than Odile and Merhizodet. It's just what happens when, like, the plot, when the main character and the love interest are separated for the majority of the book, and then they come together, it just does not seem very, like, there's not a lot of time for you to build that romantic connection, and it was very, very obvious. But I don't know, maybe it's just me. Moving on to my rating and overall thoughts, I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. It's a very middle of the road book. There was nothing too crazy to write home about, nothing too spectacular, nothing too much that I really hated either. It was just kind of like, I felt very ambivalent about the book. Would I recommend it? I think so. I think if you're looking for a kind of fun, like, light gothic novel to get your toes a little wet in the gothic genre, get your toes a little wet in, like, a darker retelling, this is a fun book. But to me, I was expecting just a lot more out of it, especially since I've heard really good things about A.B. Pornak as a writer from Where the Dark Stands Still. It's on the list of books to read, so I'm hoping that I'll enjoy that one more than I will this one. But yeah, again, would recommend if you're looking for something like it. This is definitely like an entry level gothic novel, I would say. So if you're looking to dip your toes into gothic literature, probably a fun modern gothic novel for you to read. But if you're looking for something a little bit more on the not like advanced, but more not as beginner friendly, probably not the book for you. But still, it was an okay retelling. But that is it for my thoughts on the Treachery of Swans by A.B. Pornak. If you like this kind of video, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see more of these kinds of videos from me, also let me know in the comments down below. But until next time, hit like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.